Peace, everyone. Or I could say no one, because there's no one here yet. I didn't do a pre pre thing, so I give everybody a couple of seconds to get in while I get my some of my organization for the day. Probably just heard that notification. They starting already on me. They're already starting in on me. But that's how doing go around here for me. A lot of just organizing of what it's going to be for the day, which I usually, peace, Sister Kashia, give thanks for the sound check, as always. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Peace, Shannon. Peace, Hassan. Okay, y'all are here. All right. Aquia, YG Gutter. Okay, I have my head down. Let me see you all here. Krishan. Peace, everyone. Peace, peace, peace. Yeah, all right. So I guess I'll have to look at these later. Nikki Love. Um, yeah, man. So, yeah. Give thanks for another day. We're moving past the equinox, of course, and you may have felt Peace Shannon, Part Two, Version Two. You may have noticed some energy. Peace, Urad, the Bush Doctor. You know, greetings, everyone. Really, I know people are like saying that they've been able to get a lot of value from these sessions and whatnot, but I'm going to reiterate the most important part is just greeting each other. Honestly, I mean, peace, Gypsy Gray, Shade, peace, Baba Emmanuel, peace, Baba Cruz. Yeah, we are okay. Y'all are here. Peace, Andreen, Iya Alderay, Alderay. You know, peace, everyone. Yeah, man. Yeah. Give thanks. Yeah, but like I said, the most important part is really this. This could be it. Like I said, it's so powerful when you're able to align yourself. Peace, brother Vermont. It's interesting, brother Vermont. You come in almost at the same exact time every segment. I've been noticing that. You must have a pretty regimented dawning. Well, it seems like you have a regimented dawning. I could be wrong, but I notice you come in at the same time every time. But yeah, man. The day has been opening up. Peace, brother Antonio, brother Christian. Yeah, all the way from over there. Yeah, this is the most important part. Yeah, as you notice, I'm not outside today. Um, I pretty much been up working since about 1 a.m. Well, I think it was 1:20. You know, I fell out a little earlier than usual, and then got up about 1. So I think I fell out about 10, literally, like head back in the chair, laid down, peace Amazi, laid down, and then got up at 1 and just been going from there. So I didn't even yeah, I had a nice rhythm going, so I didn't even go outside and do my thing yet, which is cool because actually now this time of year I wouldn't normally go out as early. I just do it so that I can do these segments with y'all. But actually, if I go out a little later, then I get sun. So like yesterday I did the segment, then I went back out later to get some sun on my skin. So at least this way now, I'll just go out once. You know what I mean? Did you ever get? You know what? I haven't seen the lady yet. No, I haven't seen her. I even walked like after I did yesterday's live. I walked the way that I normally see her, those streets. Didn't see it. Now, granted, it's been a little cooler outside in the dawning, so she's older, so maybe she moves different based on the weather. I'm not sure. So yeah, I'll see her. I know I will. I know I'll see her. You know what I mean? But no, I haven't seen her yet. But I've been looking. I definitely been looking. Um, yeah, man. So like I said, the most important thing is the greeting because getting synced up and aligned for the day. it's critical. Let me stop. I'm over here half talking, half reading emails. That's that sick multitasking. Sometimes I get caught up in, sometimes we brag about our ability to multitask and we don't realize that that's actually not necessarily always a good thing. In most cases, it's a bad thing. There's a scripture that talks about a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. You know, and that's always been, I think for me, always been a very important piece of wisdom. Not necessarily just for my actions, but because I think we all know somebody unstable. I mean, I think everybody has had. There's so much dysfunction in America that it's hard not to know an unstable person. And then when you read the part where it says unstable in all his ways, and of course that's a double-minded man or woman, unstable in all their ways. I think it takes on a different kind of significance. Peace, Deidre. You know, so yeah, in our new spiritual training, that's one of the things I teach. Your purpose is to do one thing at a time and put your full focus into it, and that's why I had to put the button down. I mean, put the phone down because I wasn't following my own guidance. But grow. So the thing is about it is that yeah, like reading that, so many years ago, it was very profound for me because I know a lot of people who, again, like, and I think I had shared that before. I came up in music very young, right? So, and I came up in an era of a lot of fronting, and not to say that era is over. People still lie and pretend to be more than what they are, But I remember seeing parodies back in the days of like people in the disco clubs in the '70s, like coming up with cards and stuff, and like there was a lot of comedic parodies about that, about people lying about who they were. So, I kind of came up in some of that reality, and I don't know if it still happens in the same way because honestly, I'm just not in the same circles. So maybe if I was still trying to get on, then I would be facing some of the same things. But I'm not at that stage in my career at this point where I have to like try. And anything I have to really try, I don't want to do it anyway. So I kind of put my time in already. So most of what I do is based off of relationships. People call me, oh, give thanks, Amazi. You know, I'll get to that. I'll answer super chat. I think that's what you're supposed to do with super chat, right? Answer those questions. You know, John ain't gonna be pimping me out on the super chat, but I'll answer it. I'll get back to it. Hopefully, I can pull it back up. Um, but and I'm sure there's a way. You know. So yeah. But so now I don't really encounter that too much, depending on what I'm doing. Now I'm sure if I went out to LA or when I'm out there and I say, hey, I want to do some film work or something like that, I would probably be right back in the midst of, the fronters. I'll probably be right back there. But one of the things that I've always noticed about that is, again, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, right? So that also means like a lot of times when you're trying to get things off the ground, sometimes you're trying to do too many things at once. You sometimes you wonder, you look at certain people and you're like, man, they've been trying forever, trying to do this or trying to do that, and it's never really materialized into anything. Why is that? You know, and you realize that, or if you observe, like, yeah, because you're trying to do too much, like they say, you're trying to do too much, and that's a form of being double-minded. Oh, peace, Sister Manira, I didn't see her in here. I didn't see her. But that's a form of being double-minded. It's like having, because actually when you translate those words back to the Hebrew, it's actually not mind, it's soul. So it's a double-souled person. So it's like having two wills or two souls inside of one vessel, inside of one container. Um, so having that battle of wills inside of you keeps you from ever getting anything done. You sometimes see that with people who go off to school. It was always the silliest thing to me when I was younger. Um, in my early years in the university, and you'd be around other students, and you'd be like, "What's your major?" "Oh, give thanks, Shay. Appreciate that. For real, for real, for real. Have a dominating day." Yeah, I can't avoid that. That's that's automatic. Trophy. I put the day in a headlock. but, but yeah, for everybody else too. But yeah, I used to always look at it and be like, how you go spend up all your parents' money and don't know what you came here for? That's kind of messed up, you know. I paid my own way through school, so I didn't have yeah, I didn't have the financial. I didn't even apply for financial aid, which was stupid. I probably would have got it, you know, or maybe not, because we there was money in my bloodline, if you will. But when it came time for college, that was all on me. So that was actually why I had. If you ever hear me talk about the barbershop and stuff like that, that's why I bought the barbershop. I bought it to actually pay my way through school. So I was a young kind of scheming type of. I could figure this out. I could make this work. And figured if I owned a business, then I would be able to have money coming in. Because at that they were paying rent, my barbers, every Sabbath. I don't remember what I was charging for rent. I think it was different amounts. Some guy, like the newer guys, maybe paid like 75. The more experienced were like 135, which I was undercutting other shops. I think other shops were like 150 a strong. So I was charging like 135 for booth rent, something like that. And I had like six barbers. Six barbers, two hairstylists, and two wash girls. You know, um, so that was my thing. So I had to come up with that bread. Myself. Um, I don't even think I had a bank account around that time. I'm reminiscing because, but I remember going to the Bursars with a stack. I used to pay my tuition in cash at the Bursars office. I'd be the only one there counting out. It used to be so, now in hindsight, it used to be so funny. I'd be sitting there counting out racks, paying for my classes. But yeah, man, there was so many people I would meet. Man, been in the school for 6 years, 7 years, just taking forever to get to the straight line because they had a double mind. You know what I mean? Yeah, financial aid clutch. Yeah. You know what? I'm gonna tell you something. Why you gotta? I didn't even know what financial aid was when I went to school. As simple minded as that may sound, I found out about financial aid. I think in my sophomore year, there was a young lady that I had gotten real cool with, and she had a. We went to the cafeteria, and she pulled out this card, and I noticed like all the other students had these cards, like they had to because they were getting Pell grants and stuff like that, and she was like, "Oh yeah, I don't pay for anything," and I'm like, "How you don't pay for nothing?" I'm like, "What's the jokes?" And she was like, "Oh," and she was like, "Oh, I have to teach you." I was like, "Yeah, I don't know nothing about this." What I mean? I'm just here, doing my thing, and I paid for everything. I didn't eat the cafeteria food because I was like, that's for y'all. I kind of looked down on it, which was a little arrogant. But I used to go and get real food or have real food brought to me. Give thanks, Nikki Love. I used to have some sisters who would bring me food, but I didn't. I was kind of ignorant to a lot of things, unfortunately, because I could have saved a lot of bread and put that somewhere else. But 20 hindsight is 2020, as they say. But yeah, I used to meet so many people and just loafing around because you're double-minded. You don't know why you're here, and a lot of times that happens. It doesn't end, after you get past those formative years in school. It doesn't end there. You know, here I'll give you a little something. And then I'm gonna get to your question. I'm a Z, if I can find it, if I pull it back up. A lot of times people ask me like, why didn't I stay in the music industry, considering that I had like a really strong run. Like I didn't pull out of the music industry because like I started like producing flops. I mean, nothing like that happened. Like I was solid. You know, as a session player, I was doing a lot of keyboard work as a session player, a lot of guitar work, drum programming, and production. And even though a lot of my production, because I was with some of the larger labels, what they do is the way they get you is, especially if you don't know any better, you're young, you'll produce the whole track and then you'll have somebody come in, and this happened to me several times. People who y'all know, big names now, and they'll just like, oh, you should put a triangle right here, right when the last chorus goes into the bridge, just go ding, and then you put the triangle there, or they'll be like, yo, change that snare, put it, tune the snare down a couple of, like three semitones. You'll tune the snare down, and then they'll, when the credits come out, they'll have production credit and you'll have co-production, or you'll have keyboard arrangement, something stupid like they used to do little slick stuff like that. So that's why a lot of the producers that you think are producers, they're not really producers. Peace, Amal, give thanks, give thanks. They're not really producers, they're shysters. But even with all of that, I still was okay because I had good relationships. But you know what it was? I'm gonna keep it 100. And I've never, well, I've told people, but not really like this. Like I've told my youth when they used to ask, because sometimes we would be places and it would be like famous people who would know me, and they'd be like, Baba, like, oh, you know this one too, like, why didn't you stay doing that? I was double-minded. That's why. Um, I was never totally focused on one thing. I just was good at a bunch of things, So I'm producing all this music. I'm in the studio all the time. At the same time, I'm in school, because I was aiming. I wanted to be a lawyer, and I was very interested in urban legal law at one point. But I first came in as an engineer major. I was, electrical engineering, and then, urban legal law really appealed to me. Basically fighting slumlords and, fighting the system. And then I realized I had to join the bar association, which would now present a conflict of interest because I'd be in the system. And so I'm doing that. I'm studying that. I'm doing music. I'm running a barber shop. Then around that time, I'm rolling heavy with a particular security crew, and I'm doing a lot of community work. It wasn't a security crew like you might think. We were basically cleaning up the hood. But in a very physical kind of way. So I'm rolling with them, and that was required some very wild nights. Running up into projects and doing all kind of stuff and trying to clean up blocks and stuff. So I'm doing like 6 or 7 things. Then I'm working. I have the shop, and I'm working several jobs on top of the shop, right? So we can't even say double mine. We got to say like quintuplet mine. I was all over the place, So as a result, things got done, but they got done very slowly. They got done very slowly. So even some of the music projects I worked on, where I met certain artists who wanted me to do their whole project, I'd be like, yo, I could hit you with two or three joints. That's it. You know what I mean? Like, cause I got this going on, that going on, and some of those artists went on to become like megastars. Peace, Precious. You know, um, and I never regretted, like, because I was like, all right, well, you doing that, I'm doing this. Like I had my hands on so many different things, and I was pretty happy at that point with everything I was doing. There wasn't one thing that was yeah, there wasn't. I enjoyed everything I was doing at that time, but there comes a time where you have to find, or hopefully you find value in being single minded and single goal. Now, one of the reasons why things manifested and materialized, I would say very slowly, is because none of those things really had anything to do with my purpose in life. Maybe they helped to prepare me in a certain way. Everything was honorable, you know, but none of it was my actual purpose. Maybe one thing, and that was I used to run a Jegna program out of my barbershop, and that was probably, yeah, that fed into like me teaching, if you will, but everything else was like getting money, or majoring in things that I already had. I'm in class with a conflict of interest. Peace, Baba Logan. I'm in class like, damn, when I get up out of here, like, I know I'm gonna pass the bar. Like, that's, you know, as many dumb lawyers as I know, I ain't worried about that. But do I really want to? Do I really want to stand in the court and be a part of the same association as the lawyer on the other side and the judge? Because we'll all be a part of the same fraternal order. But I hate them. I hate everything they represent. Do I really want to do that? And there's some people who can do it and they can do it well. And I started to realize I'm just not one of those people. I'm just not, some things I'm not good at. And um, I'm not good at hiding certain things for too long. It starts to slip out. So yeah, then I'm getting into computers, right? So I'm all over. So just using myself as an example, and I'm sure you all have your own stories, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. So you can't, stability breeds stability, and you can't launch anything of greatness without a platform of stability. They don't launch, rockets into space from the water, or from the air. There's concrete slabs that go, for eons down and wide to make sure that there's a stable base to launch from. But when you're committed, even loosely to so many different things, nothing gets done. Or if it gets done, it takes forever. So whereas you could have gotten your degree in 6 years, let's say if you were going for a master's, it now took you 9. Or you could have got a 4-year degree. Maybe you could even pushed it to 3, and took, did some summer terms. It took you now 5 or 6 to get your BA. Because you were all over. So that's something hopefully we'll look at. I'm gonna get to this question, even though I said I'm not really doing questions, but I'm gonna do one because it was a super chat. But I'm gonna just say it at the same time. I don't know if I could pull it up. I don't know how to work the super chat. Um, what's this button do? Yo, if I killed a oh wait, maybe if I okay, here we go. There we go. Okay. I was about to say. Yeah. I told you I'm new to the super chat. I had set it up on my thing and I've never used it. But I see it. So, forgive me for my grandpa slowness, you know. Okay. No offense to grandpas. I'm not one. But no offense to y'all. Hope I'm not too far off topic. Probably are. But I have a question. What is your spiritual perspective? What is your spiritual perspective of ex foster children slash orphans? Are we close? By ex, you mean at one point you were? I mean, are we cursed? I think that's what you said. I might have said closed. Are we cursed? Are we cursed? I don't even understand that question. What do you mean? Why would you be cursed? That doesn't. Come on, man. You gotta. Come on, dig. That dig. What does that mean? Ex foster children, ex orphans. Are we cursed? Why would you be cursed? Give me some understanding. Did you do something? Did you kill your foster parents? Did you set the house on fire or something like that. Why would you be cursed? What did you do to curse yourself? Are you asking if you know the fact that you were an orphan, that is your curse? You got to give me a little bit more, because all of us melanin dominant people living in North America are orphans. We're cultural orphans, and our foster parents molested and raped and abused us, and then now they're just killing us. So um, we're cursed, but we were cursed before we got here. That's how we ended up getting screwed up like this. So it's different. So I need to understand a little bit more what you're saying. All right. Um, yeah, I'll wait for you to put something in the chat on that. But yeah, just like I said, a lot of times we take forever to get to a single point when it doesn't really need to be all of that. And we're at an equinox now, or equinox, where we're traveling through this autumn period, where it's a season of maturation. You know, when you look at now the some of the ability for us to now go back to our roots and find out or rediscover or reclaim what it is that we came to do and what we claim to be. This is a great time for it. Okay, yeah, I know. I see. Reminders. As much as I don't really um, appreciate the cold, I know some people love winter seasons and stuff like that. I'm not with it. I usually go somewhere warm for the winter. I don't really. I'm not into it. Um, yeah, I'm not into it. I've never been into it. Get that reminder out. Just always scream. But what I do appreciate about it is like the how you kind of almost you tend to be inside a bit more. And for me, I always have so many different things to work on that I like the idea of woodshedding. And woodshedding, if you're not familiar with that term, um, I know the term that I heard the way, and it may be another definition, but um, back in the days, like being a musician, if you would go out somewhere and play, and you just stunk up the place because you just was horrible, um, you might go home with your instrument and like just you stay inside and really work on your craft before you would come back to the club or wherever again to play. So that time that you would go inside, they would call it woodshedding because people would take their guitar or their banjo or their harmonica or whatever, and they would go into the shed, like in their backyard. So I was talking about some back in the day stuff where no one could really hear them, and they would just practice and practice and practice and practice. So that was said. It was said that Robert Johnson did that because when he first came out, like when he emerged, they said he was horrible. He was horrible, and then that's where that whole made a deal with Elegba at the crossroads came from. Because then all of a sudden he came back and he was like the best guitar player there. Like in that area. Um, so either he made a deal with Legba, which he might have. I mean, a lot of us do. Um, but he would shed it. Like he went and practiced and practiced and practiced, and came back. So when I use that term, that's what I mean. And there's probably other meanings for it, but that's how it was given to me because somebody told me that once. They were like, "Oh, you've been woodshedded," you know. One of my dearly, 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 dearly departed brothers. Um, he was killed a couple of years ago in the middle of Times Square by some policy agents. Um, but he was the only person that actually gave me any lessons. He's the only person I ever studied with, and he was an amazing, amazing, amazing musician. And yeah, man, he was phenomenal. He played at the time when I got with him. He was playing with there was an artist back in the days called Mika Paris, and he played with Sade. He played with Anita Baker. He played with Ray Charles. He played with a lot of people, and just real humble, cool brother. And he didn't really take on students too much, but So I had to actually audition to be his student. And at that, before then, I had no training at all. It was all air. And he heard me. He was like, okay, yeah, okay, he's got something. So he took me on as a student, and just a real good soul, real good brother, man. And unfortunately, they shot him down in the streets like a dog, with his hands up, shot him in his back. And he actually wasn't doing anything. They were just, they were just messing with him. And it was a day he wasn't feeling it. Like, I'm not having it today. It was in the papers and everything. It was a whole big thing. But yeah, I remember he had taught me some stuff. He had given me some, when he had gotten the Anita Baker gig, he had given me her, and we talking about the first Anita Baker project. What was that, Rapture, I think? Well, I know Rapture was on it. And he had given me the what we call the charts, like the sheet music. He was like, here, take this, study it. This is mine. And he was messing with me. He was like, because if something happens to me, you might have to come in and be my backup. So, I'm gonna give you the charts. You go home, you practice charts, come back. So we went over the charts right then and there, and I was messing up. I was, they're not complicated songs, but I don't know. I just didn't. I was messing all the lines up and stuff. But I took the charts and I worked them, worked them, worked them. Came back and he was like, "Oh, you've been woodshedding," and that's how I learned that term. He was like, "All right, you got it." He was like, "Sure, I might have to give you the gig." So yeah, good dude, good dude, good dude, good dude. Um, One day I'll say his name. I wanted to do a documentary about his life, but not yet. Not yet. But yeah, man. So anyway, um, we got to be single-minded in these days and times, man. Like I was saying towards the end of the line. And Amazi, did you give me some more? I didn't see any chats pop up. Let me see. Oh, there are. I had it stuck on super chat. My bad. Sorry about that. All right, let's see. Um, Cursed. I have to think more about articulating that question. Yes, please do. What up, Mac Truck LJC? That used to be my old nickname, Truck Diesel. uh, Somebody said it to me recently, who I know from back in the days, a sister. She was like, "What up, Truck?" Bro, you know. He's like, "What up, Truck?" I was like, "Ain't anybody called me that in a long time." Truck Diesel. But and that actually came from another one of my good brothers. Back in the days, one of the terms you used to use for people who were real like big and muscular, you call them cock diesel. And old heads always say something wrong. And he's like, "Man, you truck diesel. You truck diesel." you know? So people started calling me truck diesel. Which is really more of a joke because it wasn't the way you said the term. But yeah, man, we gotta be more solidified. It's one of the things I spoke about yesterday, really briefly. Kind of honing in on our ability to recognize the realness. Like I said, we got my father said truck these. He must be an old head to it. Like all them old heads, they don't want to say cock. I don't blame them. So they say truck. You know, that was one of my maybe too because I always loved this film Isaac Hayes. Mac Truck Turner. Yeah, that's like one of the dopest movies, man. Mac Truck Turner. You know what I mean? But anything Isaac Hayes is in is dope. I mean, Escape from New York, they're all dope. You know, Laugh LOA, he is indeed, and Cats talking about his friend. Yeah, Cats. You say, yeah, them cats over there, them jokers, and then cats turn to dog. You know, but yeah, man, we gotta grow up. Like that's what I was saying in the last thing before we were heading out. That's the bulk of the issue. People are not willing to take on adult responsibilities, and a lot of times, what begins to happen is that people don't want to really be honest about their double-mindedness. That's part of it. Peace Esme, good rise, good rise. They don't want to be honest about their double-mindedness, you know, um, or their agendas. So many people have so many agendas, and they're not ready to hear how dumb their agendas are. You know, everybody thinks that they're slick, they can out slick the next one, and you know, you know, and not realizing that they're undercutting themselves. You know, like, do we realize what forced unity really looks like? You know, and do we really want to get to a place where we have to practice forced unity because we've been hard headed for so long? I mean, if you think about our sojourn here through North America, has been such a strong call for forced unity after we spent so many centuries in the ignorance of tribalism, and we still haven't gotten it. It's like Wrestler said in Roots, you know, men with chains, men chained together are brothers. You know, when Kunta was like, "How can we speak? We're not even of the same tribe." You know, and he said, "Men chained together, Kunta, are brothers." You know, but Wrestler was that. It was we need more characters like Wrestler. You know, went out scrapping. You know, he was cool in Mandingo too. He was cool in Harlem Nights too. Actually, you know, he was funny in Harlem Nights. But nonetheless, that forced unity, you know, like getting into small cells. You know, that's what I was speaking about the day the phone kept messing up, and um, you know, yeah, no doubt, Alex Legant, peace, peace. You know, um, that idea of really having to join together, and what that really represents and what that really means. So many people are still trying to strategize their way away from that. And without realizing that the closer you get to divinity, the more unity becomes a real thing. You know, we're stuck on certain things that really mean nothing, and mean nothing in the sense of actually coming together. And sometimes that's because there's no culture. And we have nothing that we feel has persevered. So we have nothing that we're really protecting together as a team, you know, and as a unit. And we're not making our brothers' problems, our sisters' problems, our problems, you know, things like that. And I know a lot of that sounds very cliche, but you know, they still haven't restocked those shelves in the supermarkets. I've been noticing. There's still not a lot of food, and after they let everyone back to work at the end of the year, I mean, we still haven't got our second wave yet. They're talking about in New York. Second wave hasn't hit yet. And once they let everybody back to work, and all the children in these schools in these giant petri dishes, where they just letting the bacteria just evolve. So after we go through all of that, and then we realize that peace, Miss Cindy Jones, sounds like a '70s female detective character. Every time I see your name on the screen, I think of, you know, female character detective flipping over desks and stuff. So we're glad, so glad we're out of schools for the rest of 2020. Yeah, but then we still have an economic crisis to deal with that we were starting to deal with right before they gave you this distraction called COVID-19. So, oh, that might mess up the video. But you know, I already know my videos are suppressed. I already know. You know how many times I'm out places? I've been out places and people have heard my voice and came up to me like, "Are you Chief Yuya?" That's happened to me. I've been out places where people have seen me and been like, "Chief," right? So I'm not trying to say like I'm, you know, something, but I don't even have 2,000 subscribers. But everywhere I go, state to state, I roll dolo from state to state. Everywhere I go, I'm spotted. Videos with just a couple hundred views ain't got more than 2,000 subscribers. So there's something that I'm doing that's making them compress it, which is cool because who gives a, you know what I mean? As long as the people get it who's supposed to get it, and you do something with it. That's the main thing. I'm not interested in being a YouTube star. because then you got to come up with content all the time, and you got to get lighting and real cameras, and you got to like, because you know, like how they say the camera adds 15 pounds, it also takes away like 10 units of energy. So you know, I'm kind of always kind of mellow, low energy. Even my music is mellow, right? So I know it's like super like when I'm on. So when you're like a YouTube or a social media personality, you gotta come on all bright all the time. I mean, look at my eyes are red, so I couldn't be. I'd have to put violet. Like you gotta be a whole character, man. You know what I mean? Like, hey, good morning, everyone. All right, listen, I got some really exciting news. Just stay tuned. Man, I ain't doing all that. I ain't doing all that. That's not me. You know, but some people are just scared of I didn't catch it. Oh, there we go. Some people are just scared of the truth, so they run. Well, you know, that's exactly what it is. Let me tell you something about being double-minded, right? I'm not gonna keep you too much longer. Right? That's what he always says. But you know, and honestly, like I just like to keep the flow open, you know, because people get to come in and soak up a vibe, man. And that's really what the Dawning Command Day is about. Like, I would really just film me washing dishes or something, you know, or I don't know, you know what I mean? Just so y'all could interact. But anyway, you know what that is about that truth piece, man? People are got tiny spirits. They got big bodies and little spirits. That's what that is. So a lot of times when you're teaching, you can never give you can never give the people meat. You're constantly giving them milk because, like I said, people refuse to grow up. So what happens is you have to constantly give them cultural and historical affirmation. You can never really give them true teaching. Like for instance, I could sit here for 40 minutes and break down the different flood stories throughout the world, whether it be Noah, whether it be Nu, whether it be Manu, whether it be Olokun. I could give you that all day. Like you know, all of these or Maru, you know, is another flood story. Atlantis, you know, and people will like, wow, that's he's talking about the subconscious and the deluge and the oh wow, that's so deep, that's so deep. But you read some of these stories and you realize that the next purification doesn't come with water; it comes with fire. I don't want to hear about that. Cut it, cut the commercial, right? We don't want to hear about that one. But that's really where we're in. We're not. The flood is relative to a degree, but what's more relative now is the fires. Now, am I talking about the fires raging through California? Sorta, sorta, right? So people, the truth is the fire. You know, the water is the deluge of emotions. You see what I'm saying? So give thanks, Shannon. You know, um, I told you I'm gonna answer questions on Super Chat today, but I ain't doing that after today. I just want you to know I'm so appreciative of Super Chat. I am. I promise you, I am. But this ain't that. Don't you know what I mean? That's just for anybody who else is getting out, who's noticing that. Oh, they keep putting questions in for Super Chat. Maybe that's what he's doing. I'm not. I'll just answer them just because you know I'm gonna be cool about it. Um, but y'all ain't pimping me out. This ain't no. I ain't no goddamn carnival fortune teller. You give me $2 or $3 and I answer every. Nah, a ninja got investments in real estate. All right, so thank you. I do appreciate it, but this ain't that. All right, so that's just for anybody going forward. You know, because Shannon, you already asked questions anyway, so it's not like you know you haven't talked to me and everything. But yeah, man. So yeah, you know what it is, man. People don't want the fire, the truth of the fire, and that's really where we're at right now. You know what I mean? They want to still deal with the deluge of emotions and subconscious because it's so misty and watery that you don't really have to touch on things. I'm in a good mood this morning. No, I'm not. I'm not in a good mood at all. I just got on a yellow shirt. Why do I have on a yellow shirt? Because I've been up all night and I wanted to wear something brighter to make me look more up. Y'all don't know my mood, and I'm not getting on you, Esme, but I don't think people should do that. I cut someone off recently for doing that. You know, you don't know me. You don't know me. You don't know where I'm at. You don't know what I ate last night. You don't know my favorite meal. Uh, you don't even know any of my family. You don't know me. I am a digital image on your phone or your tablet or your computer. That's it. Now, if you're able to get something from that digital projection, cool. But y'all better stop cozying up to these YouTube people, myself included. Don't cozy up to somebody online. You don't know me. Right now, I might not even have no pants on. I could be sitting here playing with myself right now. I could be doing something perverted and deviant. Like, you don't know. You know, let's get my knee up there. I do have some pants on. See, it's pants. Yeah. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm flexible. I'm big, but I'm limber. Yeah. And there's somebody on here I had to prove that to once. Yeah. Uh-huh. I'm big and limber. All right. but man, don't cozy up to these YouTube people, man. That's how y'all keep getting conned all the time. These people are phony. These people are fake, and they fake their moods. You know what I mean? You don't. That's what I'm saying. If I come in all bright and you know what I mean, yellow looks good on me. Well, what looks bad on me? Come on. I'm joking. I'm just playing with you. Yeah, I don't wear it much, man. You know, I used to practically almost like get beatings when I was a child because I used to only like to wear black or gray. And I remember one time being in the store and my parent, they do the whole go get what y'all want and come back to and I came back with all these black and gray. He's like, "Man, put that shit back. Go get some. You look good in bright colors. All right, you know." But yeah, I used to never like to wear bright colors, so I always keep a couple in the chambered up just in case I need to lively up yourself. But yeah, like I'm saying, is that that truth, man, is what people don't want to grow up to face. That's really what it is. So we're in a season where if you're a teacher, and that's why I said, man, forget these YouTube people, man. I'm gonna show you how YouTube people teach. There's a thing. I didn't grow up in the church, but I used to hear this term, fire baptized, right? And you got those fire baptized holiness preachers. I think that's like the whole phrase, right? Give thanks, Shade. Um, um, them super chats be distracting. I was going to say something, but I always want to be thankful for the super chats when they come in because you could have took that $5 and got some Starbucks or something or whatever. I don't drink coffee, but whatever y'all guess. I guess Starbucks about $5 or something. Um, but yeah, like they say, you call them fire baptized holiness preachers. You're not gonna find that on YouTube because people don't. Wow, girl, you make my heart sing. But but you know, this is my coffee. Oh, okay, the $5. Okay, that would have went to the coffee. Okay, yeah. See, I'm always a little confused because sometimes you go places like gas stations, coffee is like 79 cents, but then people talk about, oh, I spent $5 at Starbucks. I'm not a coffee drinker. I sipped it once at a Boy Scout meeting. That's before they kicked me out. And I snuck into the gymnasium and they had the cooler there, and I was like, oh, and I threw it out. And that's the last time I ever tasted coffee. So I must have been about 8 years old. And I was like, this is disgusting. Why would someone want to drink this? And it stinks to me. And it makes your teeth look funny. It makes your breath stink. I just never saw the point in coffee. So I never grew up. I never got the adult thing. I know adults supposed to drink coffee, but I never, there's a lot of adult things I never really got to yet, you know. Maybe I'll pick up the addiction a little later. But so yeah, man, like fire baptized holiness preachers. I could be saying that wrong, but what they do is they teach like the cross, like You better get this right. You better get that right. Da, da, da. YouTube, these phony YouTube people, they don't teach like that. You know what I'm saying? What they teach is milk teaching. Now, milk teaching is just every day I got to tell you who you are. I got to keep affirming who you are constantly. That's it, and you'll cheer and you'll applause that all day. Constantly affirming, you're the original people. You built pyramids. You have to constantly get that right. Now that's supposed to be a stepping stone to meat. You give the baby milk, and then eventually meat. Proverbially. I get it. Trust me. I don't give any of my babies meat either. But you know what I'm saying. You give them something more substantial, something a bit more complex, that can allow for a greater caloric intake to do more things. We never get to that point. So like when you say people are running from the truth, or like when I'm saying Esme, I'm not in a good mood. Yeah, I'm not in a good mood every day. You know. In fact, today, I'll tell you the truth. I'm anxious today. Why am I anxious? Because I have a lot on my plate, and I have about three things that I don't want to do that are a little distressing to have to do. I got like three nerve-wracking things I have to do, and then I have two things that are time sensitive that I have to do today that I should have done yesterday, but yesterday, I wasn't feeling it at all. I wasn't feeling up to it. So I pushed it all, and all these things got to get done before noon. So I'm not in a good mood, right? Now, as an inspirational speaker and as someone who's also a coach, and I'm supposed to tell you, no, I organize and da da da. No, some days I procrastinate. Peace, Ricochet. Some certain things are unpleasant, and I don't want to do them, and I put them off, and that's what I did. I put off something I got to do today, and I got to do it at the last minute now. And it's not something that it's got to be a quality thing, but it's just something I don't want to do, right? So, nah, I ain't in a good mood at all. I'm vibing with you all. That's what I'm doing. And the 82 people who are here, I'm vibing with you, you know? So, yeah, that whole concept of truth, right? It's difficult because people don't want meat. People want milk. And if you start giving them meat, they'll run. They'll start getting very offended by the meat. Now, what's the meat that we need in this time? Fire. Because we already got the water. We already got the deluge of belief. Belief and emotion was what got us here. We needed that for a while. Sometimes that's difficult even as a cultural teacher because some people are still very much stuck in the 80s and the 90s of inspiration. We got to inspire people. We got the colors and the sounds, and we got that already now. We got that. So now what's next? Truth. Let's deal with some truth, right? And let's start refining ourselves through fire. We've washed ourselves, we've baptized ourselves, and the information and the emotions of our cultural legacy that was once taken from us and is still distorted in modern days, we have been totally washed of that. That's cool. We needed that. Now let's deal with the fire of refinement. That thing that never changed, that needs to be blazed and sparked back up. But what requires there is single-mindedness. That's the problem. You can you can be in the water and be afraid that you're going to drown and be paddling at the same time, and you can make it to the shore. Fire, you notice how fire focuses you? You ain't gonna do but one thing. Like you go to a hot stove or something like that, it's getting ready to burn. It's only one thing you're gonna do. You're gonna jump back. So that fire it's a focus, you see. And so many of these platforms and so many of these experiences are built to keep you unfocused because your spirituality or the power of your spirituality is focus, law, and imagination. Give thanks, Amazi. You answered my question talking about stability. Okay, cool. All right. I thought your question was about foster children, but okay. We'll take that. Um, you know, maybe I covered it without realizing, or maybe you still have the question. But Yeah, that focus, imagination, and law. With that, you could do anything, right? But imagination requires fire. Imagination is not watery; it's fiery. You know, because you're creating images or materializing gin. Gin is smokeless fire, right? So, you know, we're running from that. That's the truth that we're running. Oh, it all ties in. Okay, cool. Yeah, that's and Shannon, you asked something about Gemini's. You should know not even ask me an astrological question. You should already know that. We're not doing that, Shannon. That's my answer to your question. I don't even remember the whole question, but if it's got anything to do with astrology in it, we're past that. And I know your age, Shannon. You're past that, but we're past that. We're not. If I'm in a Leo, f all of that, man. Get off of that. We gotta like get past it, man. Like, how much divine and powerful information have your ancestors delivered to you? At what point does it deposit? You see, and I'm not getting on you, Shannon. Don't think I'm spanking you or nothing like that or whipping you. But what I'm saying is that the information that you gather that goes into your blood actually was in my reading. So get past that. Yeah, get past that. Don't be getting smart with me on this live. I'll take you off this goddamn live in a heartbeat. Yeah. And if I shared it to you in the reading, I already know how I would have shared it to you. I would have said study Gemini, not get stuck in Gemini. Don't let me have to correct you on this mother effer and embarrass you in front of company. So anyway, like I was saying, get past the BS, man. Like, people are stuck in zodiacal animals. That's what happened to Kemet. People are stuck in these zoological forms, they're stuck in numbers. You study those things as building blocks and things that you take on in a moment, but not, you don't use that now to determine the law. The laws give birth to those ideas. So what am I doing? You still going? Yeah, peace and abundance. Going. Hmm. So, like I said, I told you I ain't in a good mood today. You thought I was in a good mood, huh? I told you. You didn't believe me. Don't. It's just a yellow shirt. And don't think because I be laughing at stuff that everything is peachy. My man Dutch, God rest the dead. He used to always say, a smile is just a frown turned upside down. And I live by that, man. You know what I mean? But like I'm saying is, don't get stuck in that, man. We got to be bigger than that. You got to be gargantuan. You got to be bigger than astrology. You got to be bigger than numerology. Hoodoo occultism. Chief, how are you? I don't know. We're gonna find out after I get all these tasks done that I ain't felt like doing. I'm gonna see how I feel after that. I don't know. I have no idea but how I'm doing it, I'm doing with responsibility in mind and obligation. But how I'm feeling or whatever, I have no idea how I'm feeling. Sometimes it's like that, especially for people who are not doing it. People, we don't like till later. Like, oh, okay. But yeah, man, we got to be bigger than that, man. That's the milk that everybody wants. Get past the milk. And like I said, some of you gotten readings, and I said study this, study Aquarius, study this, study that. Even though I'm like study Shango, I'm not telling you to be Shango. You're older than Shango. Why would you be Shango? Now you could go on the Marisha channels. You can get that information all day, and they'll tell you, yeah, but they don't. They're still functioning in water. They're still in belief. They haven't provided evidence for anything that they're talking about, and I'm not, trying to paint with a broad brush and like say, oh, they're all wrong. I'm not. I don't want to say it like that, but exactly, because she had developed a closer relationship with Yahuwah. I've been trying to tell you since I've been teaching you Kabbalah, and everyone keeps trying to pull me back, and I'm not going back there with you, man, because that's what's got you screwed up now. How about this one? I did a segment on emergency preparedness. How many of you have your bug out bags? How many of you have 3 to 6 months worth of food stores? Water. Oh, you thought it was over? See, the milk, there has to be constant. I got to keep reminding you. So there has to be survival Sundays, and every Sunday I talk about survival. No, you're gonna get it one time, and then take that good information and do what you're supposed to do. People, you you got to stop assuming that this stuff is gonna be here. They could kill my channel tomorrow, and I'm gonna tell you something right now. I got like 13, 14 channels. I'm gonna tell you something though, straight up. They kill my channel. I'm not starting a new channel. I'm not gonna do like Boosie and like put a whole, give somebody $100,000 they can get my channel. But I don't give nothing. Maybe I'll go to Twitch or Bigo or something. But just like the IG thing. Like I didn't write a letter like whatever, because I know these things won't be here forever. So we got to stop playing with it. That's the double-mindedness. You get good information, you're like, oh, that's deep, and then you drift off into something stupid. And then you're not realizing that the people who are giving you the information, they're not drifting. They're on it. You know what I mean? Like, so they're giving you something. They're throwing gems over their shoulder while they're moving in a certain direction. But you want to take them back to where your double-mindedness wants you to stay at. Life is not like that, man. And you have to be appreciative when you get certain warnings, and you got to apply them. Don't be stupid. That's the word, stupid. Stupid means I know better but didn't do better. It's not the same as dumb. You can't. If you're dumb, all you can do is maybe hopefully be enlightened. But stupid is something different. You knew what to do. We have been lazy. Exactly, Miss Cindy Jones. Exactly. Ego will make people hold on to the unnecessary. Exactly. But the thing is it's killing you now. I mean, it's been killing you. My people perish for a lack of vision. Now, vision, when you translate that, or some people translate it to knowledge, but when you translate that, peace, Olga, Jamalaya, it's actually law. That's what the word translates to. So what it really is, my people perish because of lawlessness. So what's the law? You hear the truth, you apply the truth. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. You take in the knowledge, you apply it. That's why I don't have over 2,000 subscribers. Because I'm going to give you fire. I'm going to always give you fire. I'm not going to give you water. I gave you a couple years of water. In the beginning, you got the water. I gave you all the Orisha stuff. I gave you Kabbalah. I gave you numbers. I gave you astrology. That was like 10 years ago. Now, you're supposed to take that, eat it, and say, okay, and like really eat it. You're supposed to take that, eat it, grow, get new muscles. Okay, I'm ready for some new food. But you ain't eating it because you're double-minded. You hear me say one thing, and then you hear what you hear, not actually what was said. So, to be clear, I am beyond astrology. I've been saying it for years now, but I'll just say it for those in the back. Now, I know some of y'all have businesses where you give astrological readings. That's cool. I'm not trying to like mess up your money, anything like that. But I'm beyond what you're doing. And I've been beyond that for I don't know how long now. I am beyond astrology. I am beyond numerology. Here, and I'm going to give you something even heavier that you may not be ready for. I am beyond your Neteru and your Orisha. I am far beyond that. Okay? There is something beyond that. There is something beyond Orisha. Now, I know there's so many in the community that don't want to hear that, but let's try something that we have not tried. Let's try to self-actualize. And let's try to see all of these other systems as tools towards self-actualization. And then let's move beyond them when it's time to move beyond them. I'm sorry, I don't study what y'all study. Sometimes y'all send me videos and I appreciate it, but sometimes, like, now I'm gonna keep it real. And I don't normally, I have a certain code where I don't talk about my people in public, but I'm gonna have to say something. You send me a video of Nature Boy, dog. Like, can you not? Can you not see? I'm not. Like, come on. People send me videos of like Nature Boy or I don't want to start listing names. I'm gonna keep it on him, bro. Like, if you can't see the difference between what I'm giving you and what that is, you got a serious issue. You got your issue is, and I don't like to talk about my people in public, so I'm not gonna say anything negative. But I'm just gonna say you're not seeing what you're not receiving. If you were receiving and taking it in, you would be growing, and then you would understand exactly what I'm saying, right? But and I know like y'all may get hurt and upset. I know Shannon, you may go run off or whatever. You'll be back. Scarface, you'll be back in the morning. You know what I mean? But people get their feelings hurt when you start hitting them with the truth because that fire is what you've been running from. And that's really what you need right now. But you start giving the fire and everybody gets quiet and wants to slink off. Everybody wants to watery BS of things, of beliefs that can't be proven. Come on, man. Like, so let me give you the basics of what can be proven. You better get out the city. And even if you still live in the city and work in the city, you better have a piece of land somewhere out the city. Here's another really simple thing. You better get with people who think like you do. And you better store food, water, ammunition together. Right? That's super simple. Another simple thing, spiritizing. Like, how do we spiritize? Right? Okay, so we spiritize in a way that always will lead to our redemption back to the kingdom of the Creator. Anything outside of that is foolishness. Just because it comes from Africa or West Africa doesn't mean that is correct. Because even in Africa, they do some ass backward things. There's no one perfect. So just because it's on the continent or just because it's Native American, quote unquote, doesn't mean that it's right. You have been afforded the opportunity to learn what is right. You have been afforded that. And you steady looking behind, well, 300 years ago, 400 years ago, how do you think you got in this condition? There had to have been some things that were not done right. It's kind of simple. It's kind of simple. So at some point you have to use the scientific method and show and prove the value. It's not just enough to say, this whole idea of something's looking out for me. I'm gonna light a candle for this one because it looks out for me, or this one represents that, or this one represents that. Who told you that? And how are they living? What does their lifestyle look like? At some point, here's the other fire that we need. And I didn't mean for this segment to be that, but you asked. So here it is. You asked for it. This is something that's going to sound really bad for some of y'all, but I'm going to have to say it. At some point, you got to look at the education levels of the people who you are listening to and subjecting yourself to. Now, when I say education, grow. I'm not saying degrees. I'm not saying Western education. What I'm saying is that some of the people who you choose to follow are really ignorant. Grow. And I can put on the regalia, the outward image of someone who's deep and spiritual, but if I can't construct coherent sentences, then you have to question the gift that's been put inside of me. Yes, we may look at a Elijah Muhammad, and we may say that Malcolm X was so much more eloquent than Elijah, but Elijah was a dynamic speaker. It wasn't that you couldn't understand him or he talked so backwoods. No, you could understand. He was very clear. Because how else could he have taught Muhammad Ali and Malcolm X and Louis Farrakhan and so many other people, Shahrazad Ali, who came underneath him. Dr. Sebi, if he couldn't get a clear idea out. So at some point, and I know this sounds snobby, and some of you may not like this, but some of these people just sound stupid and ignorant because they are. But they've learned certain powerful buzzwords that you listen to. Grow. When you start studying Neteru, Orisha, Lawao, ancestors, and all of these different entities, and you take them in properly, you become smarter. Literally, you become smarter. Like your retention increases, your reading comprehension, your listening comprehension, your vocabulary, everything increases, right? Because you become a philosopher. If you've been in these systems for all these years and you still can't articulate the basics of it, you may not, your IQ might be kind of low. Okay, that is what it is, no big deal. But that may disqualify you from being an authority on very complex and scientific systems. You see, think about the damage that was done by ignorant backwoods preachers. All of you who are in consciousness, that's what you've been running from all this time, right? All these backwoods Baptist preachers who was telling you things that didn't make any sense because they couldn't even understand the book that they were reading or the origins of it or why it was given to them. Isn't that what we brag about in consciousness? Do you think that era is over? How many people talk about Africa and African spirituality and African thought and they never even been to Africa? You need to start asking that question. When people are putting up images of different things and Adinkra symbols, and ask them, have you ever been to the continent? And how many times have you been to the continent? Have you ever studied on the continent? Do you have any friends on the continent? Have you ever lived on the continent? Do you only land on the continent? Now I know this isn't, everyone isn't going to get this. I know that. Some are going to be offended by what I'm saying, and I know it may sound a little snobbish, and that's why usually I don't say it. I keep it to myself, and when we're having Sabbat meetings with our new people, then I share like, yo, I'll even call out names when we're among ourselves. But publicly, we got to stay on code. Like, we got to stay on. We can't be doing that. But this is the grow up that I'm talking about. Grow. This is the grow up. We got to grow up. Who gave you these systems of astrology? Do you know that those zoological forms were even changed? It wasn't a crab. It was a scarab. Then you got Ganymedes pouring out water for the Aquarius symbol. And the chalice represents his butthole. Did you know that? You didn't know that. I know you didn't know that. The original image of that particular constellation was Ptah. They changed it from Ptah to Zeus's boy lover that he raped. Then passed around to the other gods. That's what the water represents. They were at a banquet, and he was telling who to go pour ambrosia for. So every person that he poured the ambrosia for, that was the signal that you can have him, because he said that his meat was so good that it should be shared. That's your Aquarius. Now I've shared a little bit of that before. Who studied it when I said it, and who just said, "Ooh, that's deep," and kept going. Come on, man. Like, and then we might say, okay, it's Ptah, it's the scarab. So what? Just because it's Kemetic doesn't mean it's right. No. They fell. They fell. Why? You see, like, that's the fire grow up that people are not ready to hear. They're not ready to hear that. Or people are still playing old Bobby Hemmett lectures and building whole YouTube channels off of Bobby's lectures. But why are you not playing when he said, F all those archangels? When he had his stroke, why are you not repeating that? When he said, man, I took all them shrines down, F all them angels, because when I got sick, not one of them showed up for me, man. That stuff ain't about nothing. He said it's about your mind. We got to sharpen the mind. Why ain't nobody talking about that? Because people have made whole economies off of his old, wrong knowledge. His information was right and on point. It wasn't the right knowledge for where we're at and what we needed. I'm choosing my words very carefully. I love Bobby dearly. I do. But I'm glad he saw it. I'm glad he caught it. He caught it. He caught what I've been trying to tell y'all for 10 years. Why do you think I've been talking about Ori so much? You think because I'm just an Ori fanatic? Why do you think in 2014, go look on YouTube, I did a whole self-actualization tour. A whole tour. There's a bunch of videos up. Those are all from the self-actualization tour. Not the Orisha tour, not the Neteru tour, not the Sangoma tour, not the ancestral tour, the self-actualization tour. So, grow up, man. Grow. Grow up. Or you're going to get toe up. That could be on a shirt. Grow up or you're going to get toe up. That's where we're at now. That's the era that we're at. And people still have all kind of issues in their lives and can't seem to get it right and can't seem to get over their own humps or just get their finances in order or get their personal economy in order or get their thoughts in order. And then when you start giving them the truth, what they try to do is they try to shove the nonsense at you. And at some point you got to realize that teachers are going to be like, they're going to be offended by that. Rightfully so. I've had teachers in school who flipped out on people behind that. You know, like we're 1 month into the class, and then you asking about a syllabus that's been posted from before the class started. I've heard teachers, like, I've been in class where teachers rip people behind it. What did you just ask me? Like all that work that's going into, I've designed the whole curriculum, the whole syllabus, everything. You're asking me now, 1 month in, and there's already been 3 assignments due, and da-da-da. What do you say? So, yeah, somebody's been teaching you about self-actualization for over 10 years and been telling you you're not here to serve Orisha or this or that for over 10 years, and then you still asking those questions, and then you want me to answer them? I don't know what the hell you think I am, but I am not one of them people who live to feed you milk. I am not that. I am not even one of them people who live to feed you. You know what I mean? If you're not ready for the fire and you're not ready for the meat, then you need to skip over to one of them fantasy unicorn channels and listen to their BS. Because what they do is they keep feeding you affirmations of what you are to make you feel good. We do that all day. You're a divine being. You are a God living a human experience. You are an indigo child. I can sit here and tell you that all day and you'll love it. You'll never go anywhere. You'll call out of work today. But that's water and that's milk. And sometimes you need a little bit of that. Sometimes. But right now you need some fire. All you do is talking about you want multiple women and you ain't even got a bug out bag, you freaking clown. You want to hear it for real? You're a freaking clown. You want multiple women and you ain't even got one investment. You're not invested in a business. You ain't got no land investments. You got no residual income. You got nothing but a hard penis and a bag of weed. You wastoid. And then you clown ass females lay down with them and make half a wastoids or two, or a whole wastoid, because you're a wastoid too. Because a real woman would know not even to crack open her legs to that. Stop having premarital sex. How about that one? You ready for that fire? Because it's not getting you anywhere. There's no advantage to it. And you're horny all the time because you're demonically infested. That's why you're filled with sex demons. That's why every 2 hours you got to rub on yourself. That's the issue. It's not because your kundalini is raising. It's not your kundalini. You're filled with American sex demons. That's the problem. And you have a void and an emptiness inside of you because you really have not discovered your place in the universe or what you're here to do. You haven't really asked yourself those questions. So you're empty. So you want to constantly keep getting that filled up. You ready for that fire? Or do you want me to keep talking about things flying in the air that you can't see and never will? I'm just saying, you know, some of you sisters want men and you don't know the first thing about herbal medicine. Nothing. You don't even know what to give him if he has a headache. You don't know what to give your children. So all your children are sick and diseased. You're sick and diseased. You're 150 pounds overweight. Why? Just because you're lazy. And the same thing with some of you dudes. Your diet is so bad, all you're doing is shooting acid up into her womb. There's no semen there. It's just a 11 ounces of acid. 11 OZs of acid. You shooting up inside of her. And then you chicks wondering later why you got fibroids and you're having fertility issues because you've been getting acid shot up inside of you for the last 3 years. Then you come to me and you want a ritual for fertility. Yeah, I got a ritual for you. I gotta close your legs. Stop letting brothers who got a vibe run up in you. Stop having premarital sex. Just stop it. Stop masturbating so much. Stop listening to fake teachers. Stop listening to dudes who got no masculinity or testosterone about them. Stop listening to these females who ain't got no man because they're going to keep you in a place with no man. You got these old ass matriarchs in the conscious community. No man, nowhere around. And you don't realize what they're doing to you. They're agents. You don't even realize it. You don't even catch it. Your strength is in the family, period. The strength is in the family. 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 Stop being so goddamn picky. You ain't all that. I'm just saying. Now I could go off on this one. I'm trying to be cool. You know, I want you to command your day. I want you to command your day, but some of y'all are in really messed up positions that you should be ashamed about. And you're not ashamed because there's so many people affirming your destruction. They're bringing it on with a chair. I always use that example of Emperor Palpatine in Star Wars. It wasn't Star, it was one of the episodes, I don't remember. When they elected Emperor Palpatine and they just elected the Dark Sith Lord and everybody's cheering, yay! That's exactly what y'all do, man. You cheer on your own demise. Because you want milk, you don't want fire. You don't want milk, you don't want meat. You just want milk and water. Come on, man. Now you soft. So other nations are running all over you like, you know. And you can't live out your salvation through me. Peace, Eddie Moon. You got to do your own work. You know, there's a clip that people play a lot of times. I know when Sarah Sutin said he was going through his issues with a couple of people, there was a clip where he said something like, I'm not bringing nobody over the line. I ain't carrying their, you know, he uses a lot of profanity, but he was like, I ain't carrying nobody over the line. And people use that clip to kind of say that he didn't care about black people. He was right. Now, I'm not an advocate of him, just to make it clear. I don't rock with him or the I think it's the Ra Squad or the Amin Ra Squad. I don't. I'm just gonna put it out. I don't care about none of them. I ain't. That's not my crew. I'm not with them or nothing like that. I just remember the incident. Why would I carry you over the line? Now y'all can take that clip and do what you want. Make sure you just put a nice beat under it though. Don't give me no techno stuff or nothing. But why would I? You have to do your own work. There's some things you can't, it's that false salvation. Like I see Chief is over here doing that and he doing that. That's why a lot of times when some of y'all say, well, where'd I give donations? Donations are cool, I appreciate it, but why don't you join in the work? You hear me say that all the time. You can't, this ain't the Catholic Church. You can't buy your way in. You have to put your own work in. You have to put your own effort towards it. And sometimes that's the problem when you see so much of this social media. You start to really feel like you're a part of that person's journey back towards the light, and you don't realize it. No, you're just watching it. It's like watching people work out, and you're like, "Ooh, child," and you're over here watching 30 minutes of somebody else's aerobic workout, man, and you didn't burn any significant calories looking at them work out. So it's the same thing with this work, man. You have to apply it in order to get where you're supposed to be. But you sitting here and observing someone else's work and someone else's journey doesn't make that you. Because my work is not your work. I was called to teach, but maybe you weren't called to teach. Maybe you were called for something else. So watching me teach doesn't get you closer to self-actualization of your purpose. Unless your purpose is to teach and you're watching me to learn. Now, of course, that's the easy answer. Everybody can say, well, yeah, I'm here. No, you ain't. No, you ain't. Because if we had a bunch of teachers, yeah, you loving it. Now you loving it, huh, Shan? I told you she'd be back. She loved me in the morning. I told you. But that's the thing. Some of you came here to dance. Some of you came here to make beautiful patterns in colors. Oh, man. Some of you came here to drum. Hey, man, if my mother hadn't sat me down sometimes and let me cut out the patterns for the shirts and the dashikis and stuff she used to make for us, I might not be talking the way I talk right now. You know that? Give thanks, Plant OG. Yeah, I know it's a rough ride that's doing it. I'm sorry. You know that? If my mom's wouldn't she used to do this thing, and I shared this I think once before. One time, I don't talk about my family much, man, but this is for you mothers, man, for you to understand sometimes the effect that you have that you may not realize. My mother, every time she used to bathe me, and I have images of this clear. I remember getting washed in the sink. That's how far my memories go back. I remember the sink. But she would take me out of the bathtub, and there was this blue towel we had. And she'd always put the towel around my waist, and she'd be like, look at you now. You're an African prince. Look at you. And then she would put me up on the counter, because that's where the mirror, like we had a big long mirror over it was a wide sink counter. And she'd stand me on the counter, and I'd look at myself with the towel wrapped around my waist, and she'd be like, yeah, you're an African prince. And you couldn't have told me different up until maybe 15. Not that my mother was bathing me up to 15, but in my mind, I remember like, yeah, I'm an African prince. So her purpose wasn't to teach in that moment. Her purpose was to gas her son's head up. You see? To gas her son's head up into believing what the spirits already knew. Because in every reading I got after that was always like, your royalty, your spiritual. I always got a reading saying your royalty. And sometimes because of my double-mindedness, I went against that reading. Because a lot of my early readings told me you're royalty and you are set to only mate with royalty. But then, big butt and a smile. Or sometimes a big butt and a frown. I didn't care as long as the big butt was coming along with it. And I wasn't thinking about no royalty, double-mindedness, right? So we all have different purposes. And I'm not saying that my mother's purpose was to tell me I was a prince or things like that, or to say, hey, come help me with these patterns, or well, she didn't need my help. You know what I mean? But what did it create? You see? So we gotta do our own work. We have to do our own work. You see? And I could tell you story on top of story on top of story, man. Of the encouragement that I got over the years from different people. Old man Johnson, man, Johnson. I don't know where he's at. I wish I could find him. He had a drug issue, man. He used to come to my barbershop and hang out, and he used to always say thank you kindly whenever you greet him. He's old Southern man, but he was on crack. But you would never know he was on crack, but because all my friends was peddlers, they you know. But you say, hey, how you doing, Mr. Johnson? Good afternoon. Thank you kindly, doing fine. You know. But that's how I learned about the thing, because we in New York, nobody talks like that. And he always wore a bandana around his neck, like he's somewhere, baling cotton or something. But he knew everything I was doing. Oh my God, that man knew. When I got into computers, he was like, "Yeah, I know you studying on computers now. I'm proud of you. How you know about it?" Because it was something I kept a secret, man. Because I used to read computer books, and all my boys used to make fun of me because I didn't have a computer. And they'd be like, "You're the only one I know sitting here in the barbershop all day reading books on computers. You ain't even got a computer." Because back then they were like super expensive for computers. You couldn't get none for like less than $2,000. And I was like, let me just read these books now. But the encouragement, man, the encouragement, just to maybe that was a part of his purpose. You see, things he would say to me when he told me about what his life was like before he never said he was on drugs, but he said, yeah, man, I had two Volvos. He was bragging about these Volvos. Bought my wife a Volvo. I had a Volvo. We had a beautiful house upstate, man. And I remember one time there was a young sister, Tasha. She was in the shop. She had just had a baby, and she wanted to come and show me the baby. So we sitting there, and Johnson walks in, and he just stood at the door, and he said, "Please, Lord God, just give me one more chance," and then turned around and left. I remember that scene, man, like it happened today. That was to hear an old man, and John. I'm saying old, but he was probably in his maybe 50s, late 50s. But I mean, that was like ancient to me back then. He could have been 90, you know. But to hear him say, "Please, Lord, Lord," no, he said, "Lord Jesus." He said, "Please, Lord Jesus, just give me one more chance." Woo! Chill bumps thinking about that, man. Y'all wonder why I go so hard. We got a lot of our people, man, who have been caught up in the nonsense from double-mindedness and have felt like they've blown their whole life. And I don't want people who study with me to have that experience, to be 50 years old, 40, even 30, and praying to the skies for one more chance at life. Thanks, Ricochet. I appreciate that. So that's why I don't play with you. That's why I don't play with you. Yeah, I'm gonna give you the fire. You may not like it, and you may. Chief's a jerk. Chief's a mean. He's a meanie. You might say all of that, but yo, you haven't heard some of the testimonies that I've heard in life. You ain't heard some. Maybe one day I'll tell you about the story about brother I met, and I'll tell you honestly, we were locked up together, and he told me about the dude he killed. He wasn't locked up for murder. I don't remember what he was locked up for, but he actually killed. He killed the person who molested him as a child. He found him again as an adult and murdered him. And he had never told anyone. And big old scary Latino brother, and I don't know how we ended up talking. And sometimes I have that effect on people. They just kind of start. And he's sitting there, man, and tearing up, and like I saw at the corner of his eye, and he told me the whole story about from how he used to molest him as a child, back in Puerto Rico, and then when he went back for a funeral, and how he ended up catching him out there, man. He killed the dude. I've heard some testimonies, man. Some of the saddest ones that you could ever imagine. So when I say fire, and I'm not playing with you, you may think it's just because maybe I'm in a funky mood, but you'll never know my mood. Like, my family doesn't know my mood. So when y'all say things like that, you really don't know me like you might think you do. My family jokes about that. Like, yo, he's an enigma. I learned that word from being called that. He is an enigma. You never know what's going on with him. Yeah, so you don't know my mood, but there's certain spirits that I take on when I'm presenting to you, so I can get it out. But that's the running away from the truth. Somebody had mentioned that earlier. That's why we run away from the truth, man. We want milk and we want water. We just want to be affirmed constantly. Like my mother saying, "Oh, you're an African prince," or "Oh, you did a good job on those pads." I probably messed them all up. You know what I mean? In hindsight, I don't know, but oh, that's beautiful. You did, because I've seen her do the same thing with my youth, gas them up, and that's, like I said that one day. That's the beauty of a woman. That's why women lie so much, and sometimes as men we don't understand why they lie the way they do. Yeah, happy Shango Day. Yeah, but we beyond that. We're gonna teach Shango how to spit fire. We're bigger than Nigeria. We're bigger than West Africa. We've been here before West Africa. We've been here when it was Asia. There's a reason why we're called the Asiatics. We were here when everything was connected and you could walk from one part to the other. We were here back then. That blood, that old ass, ancient ass blood, that's in you. But yeah, man, women lie out there. They lie through their teeth. Woo! Now, why do women lie so much? Because they have to gas up their families. See, sometimes men look at it, they don't understand. They think, oh, women are just wicked, man. That's why they lie. It's not. No, it's not wickedness. That's not. It's just sometimes it's unbalanced because you don't know how to appreciate them for lying. I've been in jail, hit by a car, most recent hit by a truck. Wow. While tripping in the parking lot. I gotta read this one. Ah, pull these damn chats back up. I'm about to knock this thing over probably. All right. I've been in jail, hit by a car, most recent hit by a truck while tripping in a parking lot, walking into a store, suffered third-degree burns, head trauma, and passing of my twin purpose. God damn, boy, you hard luck. Yeah, I don't want to be friends with you. I don't want to walk nowhere near you. God damn. You need a rabbit's foot or something to wear. A couple of them. 21 rabbit's feet. Man, you done had some bad luck. You probably need to start doing what you're supposed to do in life, man, and stop running from it. You definitely need to move. You're living in the wrong place. That's the big thing of what's going on with you. You're living in the wrong place. You're not living your purpose, and you're being hard-headed. So now you're getting knocked all over the place, man. We already know what that is with you. God damn, don't come nowhere near me. Don't come nowhere near me. All things have a reason. Yeah, the reason is hard-headedness. That's why all those things are happening to you. It's hard-headedness. You won't live on your purpose. That's what it is. You live on your purpose and you'll start getting into a better flow. But you've been listening to yourself for too long, and you've been listening to the phrase like all things have a reason. All things have yeah. Sometimes the reason is because you did something wrong. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can Ashe owe me to death, but you better start changing that lifestyle. All right, you got to start. You got to move. You got to move. You live in the wrong place, and I think you already know that. You already know that. You live in the wrong place. So you're in the jet stream of a reality that's not yours. You've been living in a couldn't leave my twin. Uh-huh. Well, twins die sometimes, and then they force you to make other decisions. But your twin is your higher self. Your twin is not your earthly. That's not your doppelganger. Oh, he dead. All right, now make some move, man. He released you. But anyway, I don't want to get too distracted by that. I'm moving soon. Good. There we go. You already knew what it was. Yeah. Let us know when you move, so we know that you wasn't lying about moving. I'm playing with you, sorta. Yeah. That's where a lot of that hard luck comes from, man. You know, we just won't do what we supposed to do. So that's the double mindedness. We're zigzagging. You could finish college in 4 years. You take 9 years. You know, because you did, or you could join one organization and you could get what you're supposed to have, and you could grow and you can blossom, but you hard headed. So yeah, I was in the Nation of Islam, then I was Sunni, then I was with Saw Set Society, then I was a Khan, then I was. You don't need all of that. You can get it with one if you're committed. If you're committed, you can get it with one. You know. But a lot of times we're double-minded. We're double-minded, so we're all over the place, man. So yeah, like I said, man, I've heard some of the hardest testimonies, and that's why I'm not here playing with you. You know, for the little bit of time I have, because a lot of my friends are dead for different reasons, and it's not just some street stuff. You know, I've had friends who've had heart attacks and young, and I'm not saying like older guys, man. I mean, I had friends, first year college, so he was 18. I had a close friend who died of an asthma attack. You know, um, all kind of weird stuff, man. Yeah, now I've had a lot of friends shot and stuff like that, but um, just people dropping off, and it accelerates when you're in end time realities, man. So you keep wanting that milk, you can't survive and run off of milk and water, man. You want to need something a little heavier, and sometimes that's even representative of the culture community, man. There's such a strong fixation on light eating. And I know that might be like, oh, Chief, you just said, bigums. That's why you talking about. Or as Nicole said, thickums. You know, but I used to eat lettuce, and I was raw for many, many years. And then I started realizing, like, you're not as strong as you really built to be. You don't get a jaw like this for nothing. This is a get punched in the jaw kind of jaw and not get knocked out. I never been knocked out. You know, so I need something. I need warriors food. I got a warrior's appetite. You know what I mean? This tofu, not you should be eating tofu anyway. This tofu ain't cutting it. You know what I mean? Because there's real situations we dealing with, and this beast over here is 230, 40 pounds solid. And he's taking Krav Maga. He's taking Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's taking kickboxing. And I'm over here jogging and on a 12-speed bike and eating tofu. That ain't gonna cut it. You see, I'm gonna need to be able to push somebody back, right? And I don't eat meat, so not that I'm saying like, so I started eating steaks. No, just changing perspective a little bit. You know what I mean? So sometimes certain things are representative of other things. You know what I mean? And sometimes we're not aware of where we are and what we need to be doing, and as a result, the world is zooming past us, man, and we're outmodding ourselves. All right, this live was probably the longest one so far. It was the longest one so far, and I told you I got a bunch of stuff I got to do before noon. Yeah, just looking at my reminders. But yeah, I don't know. Just I go with the flow sometimes. Sometimes you gotta go with the spirit. You gotta go with the energy. And I give what's needed based on what the energy says, man. But I'm telling you, man, it's fire time, man. Stop looking for water. And listen to women who are women by your community definitions. Let me just put it that way. Like, yeah. I'm careful because I don't want to talk about anybody or anything. But and listen to men who are men. I see too many suspect guys giving information that they shouldn't be giving. I heard one little dude about my shipment. Important alert. I had to read that later. Man, you better not mess up my shipment now. I got a new little thing coming that I'm gonna be working on that I need that I got. Oh, I told you my stand. I just got alert about the stand. I told you I was gonna use the super chats to buy a stand so the thing doesn't keep getting knocked over. So that'd be cool. But I got a stand, then I can like go deeper into the woods. But yeah, sometimes I see guys. I saw this little guy, and he was talking about how women shouldn't have menstrual cycles and things like that. That's not his place to speak on that, man. You know what I mean? Even if I had to share that information with my daughter, I would share it with my woman and say, here, this, let me give you some stuff to break down or to study. And you might want to go look this up. But you got to be careful of the sources, man, because the wrong source will pervert the information, and it'll turn acidic instead of being nutritious to you. There's certain things that men should not be speaking on, and there's certain things that women should not be speaking on, and there should be women. And Chief, I'm not new to this. He told me off, y'all. I told you all. KMSL. I don't know who KMSL is. All right. I guess that's a. I don't know that. Maybe that's one of them text abbreviations. I only know like two or three of them. You know what I mean? But yeah, man, you got to consider the source. You know what I mean? Like, if I was here looking all suspect, or, like one time a sis said something to me. She was like, you always talking about you're a polygynist, and I said, no, I've never even called myself a polygynist, so I don't know. I'm not polygynist. So I don't know what you're talking about there. Polygyny means multiple marriage, and I'm not married, and I will not get married. I have no intentions on marrying. Now sex is a marriage, so I mean we could proverbially say, yeah, you are married because I have had sex. Um, but no, sometimes I'll mention women because I want to make it clear what my stance is, right? Now that's not to denigrate anyone else's stance, but I want you to be clear on something. You're talking to a heterosexual man, right? Because I've had people make other kind of assumptions, trying to shift what I'm saying in certain directions. I'm like, no, it's here. Like, don't try to twist around what I'm saying and apply it to places that it ain't gonna apply to. No, you're talking to a heterosexual man. I'm patriarchal. So I'm gonna give you all the stuff that I know is offensive and outlawed today. And not only am I heterosexual and patriarchal, but I mess with I deal with, and I'm committed to several women at once. Now, if you want to call it whatever you want to call it, you go right ahead. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm still gonna do it. If you want to grab a book and say, well, yeah, that's okay because the Quran permits it, that ain't why I'm doing it. Well, that's okay because in the Torah, that ain't why I'm doing it. Okay, so you use your own standards of why you, but that's me personally, so at least the perspective and the energy that's presenting what is presenting to you. I'm man. I'm all man. You know what I mean? So uh, you may try to conceptualize something different in your mind because of where you're at, and that's okay. I get that. You know what I mean? But it's important to know where people are and why they do what they do. That's why you'll hear stories sometimes. Peace. I ain't seen you in a while, brother Talib. That's why sometimes I share the story so you understand the background. You need to understand. Peace, Jamie. You another one, man. Ain't seen you in a minute, man. These are Facebook cats. Um, you need to understand the background of the people who are proclaiming to give you nutrition. Like I always say, ask why they got into consciousness, not just okay, you hear me. Why? What made you do this? So when you hear some of my stories, you hear like that's why I share them. It's not because I like to just tell about my life. So when I tell you about Johnson, you know, and you hear like when he stood in the door and said, "Please, Lord, just give me one more chance," like that was a part of my spark in a certain direction, or having a mother who instilled a sense of cultural pride. That was a mark in it, and I had a strong father too. So, and then sometimes I'll mention that. Yeah, my pops this, my mom's this. Now, why am I saying that? So you understand my background. I ain't no mama's boy. You know what I mean? I don't have a single mother tragic story. I didn't. That wasn't my upbringing. My parents split, but I had mother and father. You know what I'm saying? So I don't have that story. You know what I mean? Well, yeah, it was just mama, and she took care of all of us. And no, I didn't have that. I had a pops who was making bread. I had a pops who was bringing in the dough. You know what I mean? My pops drove a Mercedes back in the days. You didn't really see black men with Mercedes. Pops drove a beige uh, Mercedes. It was a diesel, and drove a BMW motorcycle, which was a rarity back in the days. You see what I'm saying? Um, so that's not my story. You know. Now, do I have some other kind of, so you might say, where's all that hood stuff coming from? Because double-mindedness, man. Just sometimes you're an outlaw, and sometimes outlaw energy is in your blood. That come from my mama's side. Well, actually, nah, I think it come from both sides. Actually, that sense of being an outlaw and like f the system. And one of my mother's favorite phrases when I was growing up was, "Don't let the system pimp you, pimp the system." Oh, take care, give thanks, appreciate that. Yeah, wow, you taking care of me. You taking care of me. But one of her favorite phrases she used to always say to me was, "Don't let the system pimp you, pimp the system." Now, imagine growing up with that, from like hearing that, well, from forever, 4 or 5 years old, up all the way through to your 20s and 30s. Remember what I always told you? Pimp the system. Then you wonder what creates Chief Yuya. You see what I'm saying? So I share those things so for you to get a sense of some of the background of how we ended up here, and for you to understand that I'm not just some genius that landed on the planet, but there were people who poured into me, and it was experiences that I took in and respected. And that's what, oh, give thanks, hoodoo occultism. Now, now I gotta go. Okay, we're gonna do the food. We definitely gonna do the food. I'm thinking now all the things I want to do, because I want to do the food piece and the hygiene piece, but I haven't. You know what I haven't done in a minute, and we're almost at where I could do it. I used to do coat drives. A good brother of mine, good brother. We ran real heavy back in the days. And he'll be coming home soon. He got into a situation a couple of years ago where he beat the daylights out of two cops who were harassing him, and he went upstate behind that. So it was his first trip upstate. But keep your hands to yourself, you know. And I don't mean his, you know. But I was messing with him. I was like, man, you gonna wait till we get this age to finally go up north? I'm like, so he got a couple of years behind that up north for beating up these cops. But back in the days, he came to me one day. He was like, yo, you. He was like, yo, I want to do a coat drive. I'm like, man, what's your angle? Because he was one of them type of, you know what I mean? I was like, well, for what? He was probably one of the most selfish people I knew. And he was like, yo, man, come on. Like, he got all upset. He was like, yo, I just want to do, you doing all this stuff. I want to do something. I was like, all right, fine, relax. So we did a coat drive. You know what I mean? And he actually told me later, where it came from. I gave this kid a coat lunch. I had forgotten about the incident, man. We were having a rehearsal, and he wasn't a musician, but he swung by. He was cool with the crew, and this kid walked by. It was probably like, it had to have been around November, December, maybe November, and we standing outside waiting for my man Chuck to open up the rehearsal space, and this young boy walks by. He was probably about maybe 10, right? So he walking by, and we stand outside. We just talking and everything. He had no coat. So I was like, yo, shorty, where your coat at? You know what I mean? And he was like, I don't have one. And I was like, what, you lost your coat? He was like, I don't have one. So I was like, all right, come back over here at 3 o'clock. right? And I got something for you. So Shorty came back. Well, he actually came inside because the door was open at that point. So he came back in, and I took him to the Ave, and I think I took him. Oh, what was the name of that store? It was next to Buster Brown. They don't even have Buster Browns anymore. I can't remember the name of the store. I don't know. I'm remembering it. But yeah, I took him out. I bought him a nice. I bought him two joints actually. I bought him a nice goose, and then I got him this other joint. It was like a bomber. It was going back, but it was dope. Like it was something that he could wear, and you know what I'm saying, and feel proud. But I didn't even realize my man was there that day. So he told me later, he was like, "Yo, when I seen you get that kid the coat, whatever, you know what I mean, whoop de whoop." I was like, "Yo, I want to do that." So that's what I'm thinking about. I haven't done one of those in a minute, man. Coat drive. So we might be able to do both. I don't know. I don't know. We might be able to do both. Yeah, goose. Back then, I'm old head, man. But back then we had the triple fat goose. But I don't think I got. I think this was kind of a little bit after. Yeah, this was after like when triple fat goose was big, like in the late '80s. This was after that. This was probably like early '90s. So it wasn't a triple fat goose, but it was a goose. It was a nice goose joint. You know what I mean? I got him the goose joint, and then I'm trying to remember the other one I got him. But man, this boy smile. The other thing, I got a big teeth. Woo! This boy was smiling from ear to ear, and I remember I took him home because I didn't want him like I didn't want his mother or his father to think he stole it or whatever, and when I took him back to his rest, his sister answered the door. And she started going off. I was like, no. I was like, she's like, what he do? And I was like, he didn't do nothing. Like, chill. And then the grandmother was in there. Yeah, Mama Love was in the spot, and he started crying. Oh man, he started crying. I remember that. He started crying, and I was like, why are you crying, shorty? I like, you alright? And he was, you know, and yeah, man. So I had forgot about the whole thing actually. You know what I mean? But back then I was making a lot of bread. I was real cakey. So if you cakey, you gotta you gotta spread the batter around a little bit. You know what I mean? So it wasn't nothing to do. Whatever. Plus, man, come on, man. You gonna see a child walking down the street? It was cold. That snot all down. You know what I mean? Like, nah, man. That ain't nothing to do. You know what I mean? As much as I wasted on clothes and stuff like that, especially back then, you know what I mean, keeping up with certain fashions and all that cheap hood jewelry we used to buy, thinking we was doing something, you know. But yeah, man. So fire, fire upon the mountain, man. Fire's on the mountain, man. We gotta purify each other with fire, and we gotta love each other enough, man, that we don't trip. So that's why I said sometimes I share some of that background a little bit with you all, just so you understand a little bit about the motivation. And you're not going to get the fullness of it because I ain't going to tell you. But these are the things that you need to ask these people. That's how it was back in the day. We have millionaires holed up in the hood. Now they all live in Atlanta. Yeah, yeah. There was a lot of people back then who was cakey, but um, that wasn't drug money. so just to be clear on something, you know what I mean? I was cakey, but yeah, that wasn't. We had hood stars too. I'm kicking the thing again. I stretched my legs. I'm sorry. We had hood stars too, but for different reasons, man. You know what I mean? But nah, that wasn't for flipping nothing. But I was involved. I'll be honest. I was in statutes and limitations. I was involved in some things that would be considered immoral um, for a long time. You know, whatever. I still don't personally consider it immoral. So it is what it is. What it is. You know what I mean? But yeah, we had a lot of people, especially back then. But In a particular place that I lived in, um, there was a sense of town pride, if you will, and a lot of people knew each other in that sense. But we had some stars that came out of there that weren't interested in doing much, which I never got upset about. People used to get upset about it. I didn't, because I felt like, everybody says, "Oh, get back to the hood." I never subscribed to that, me personally, because I've seen people get done dirty in the hood. I've seen people, like I seen dudes who you were friends with, like they'll impregnate your sister, and you know, coerce her into an abortion or just not take care of the child. Like that's hood. You know what I mean? Like I've seen people's mothers get robbed trying to come home. Or just dudes get jumped just because somebody's trying to show off for a girl. Things like that. And then there's other aspects to the hood. So when people like get back to the hood, and I understand, get back to the people, but sometimes the people can be kind of rotten. So I understand not everybody has the same kind of experience growing up where they have that sense of love, because sometimes they weren't shown love, and sometimes they climb their way out of those situations, and they're like, I'm not looking back. you know I'm glad I finally escaped out of there, and I completely understand that. And everybody's experience is different. um I don't go back to my hood and do anything. I when I was there, I did things, but I started moving around and I've kind of internationalized myself. You know, so I do stuff all over the place. But like, even if I say a clothing drive or a food drive, I'm not thinking about my hood. I'm just thinking about where the people need it. You know, um, so I think everybody has a different perspective on that one, and I don't fault any of them, because you know. You work for what you work for. And sometimes people could lay claim to it. Like if I was one who was, shouting out my hood and getting credit as a result of that, that would be a little different. But not everybody has that. You know what I mean? Like, so, that's just me. I guess it's up for debate, I guess, but because it's an opinion, it's not a truth. But I don't expect anything from anyone. But I know a lot of times we have the resources to do a lot, man, and we've established handouts as a part of our economy, and we don't really need to, because sometimes it didn't take much to take Shorty to. I didn't take him to Buddy's. Buddy's was the big man shop. That's where Heavy D used to shop, the big and tall shop. It was next to Buddy's. I'm trying to remember this shop where we went. It wasn't because now I think it's Dr. J's, but it was something else before that. It's gonna come to me. I know it was some. I think it was some Asians that ran it. Damn, I don't know. It's gonna come to me one day. I don't know. Probably as soon as I end the live. But yeah, there's a lot that we could do. So even now, man, think about the information I've given you. What can you do with it, right? Emergency preparedness. How about this one? Do you guys know first aid and CPR? I know you want to know about metaphysics, man, but if somebody choking on a piece of tofu, can you bounce it up out of the esophagus? You know what I mean? If it goes down the wrong pipe. Do you know first aid and CPR? How about this one? These segments that I do you have an archive of them? The ones that really impacted you and you really got, do you have them? Like in case something happens and they're no longer here, or you don't have access to it, do you have the information that you need, or certain books that really help you, whether they be medical books or books on identifying herbs, things like that? Do you have those somewhere digitally and physically? Esme's on it. She said yes to everything. you know, so those are some of the things that's the fire baptized stuff that we may not want to hear, but that we need to hear. All eyes on me. Yeah. You got a copy of All Eyes on Me? You know what I mean? I do. I got the double CD, Tupac. All Eyes on Me. But I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but that's what I'm taking it, Deidre. Should we be doing collective organizing? I have found it hard to convince people. Don't convince anybody. To hell with them. Like opening a cooperative grocery store. Nah, F them. You know, that was a question you asked in the comments, La Cruz. I meant to actually, I was going to answer that. You said, how do I get people to, first of all, you're a woman. Ain't nobody listening to you. Should nobody be listening to you, really? Yeah, I know. Fire. You want it? Should nobody listen to you? You shouldn't be out there in the lead like that. You take that crap from the conscious community, and that's why they haven't done anything. You know, your job is to support the homestead. That's it. Don't worry about. Let your man. The woman master. Her domain is the home. The man's domain is society. The two work hand in hand. You know, that's his base that he launches from, and the work that he does in society gives her honor and gives her resources to do more. That's you. Don't A lot of you sisters go out and you want to organize programs and stuff like that. That's not you. Now again, you may say that's sexist. It is sexist. It is. There's something that I'm here to do, and there's something that you're here to do. Period. You know what I mean? You couldn't convince me of nothing. I wouldn't follow you to the goddamn bathroom. A real man ain't gonna listen to you, right? So, and I know brothers might be like, well, my mother give me a lot of advice. That's why you a sucker and you ain't really doing nothing. That's why. You know what I'm saying? Most of these movements and organizations are super matriarchal. Yeah, the goddess. F that. F that nonsense, man. No. No. You can't. What drives forward positive masculine energy is the stimulus. You want to move in a direction, you need masculinity. Period. You know what I mean? So I know people don't want to hear that, and they feel some type of way, but that's because probably most of you, and I'm not saying you, La Cruz, I'm just saying in general, most of y'all were raised by single mothers. Period. You didn't have a father who protected you. You didn't have a father who provided for you. You didn't have a father who provided a covering. You didn't have a father who provided authority or who was an authority. You didn't have none of that. So when I start using that language, it's foreign to you because it's like, what do we need men for? But you don't know the value of it because you never had it. But again, I'm telling you what made it. I did a whole segment about my uncle when he transitioned. I'm showing you what makes a chief Yuya. I'm not discounting my mother because I've talked about my mother. I've talked about my aunts. I've talked. Family is where the strength is, right? And like I said, my parents split. So what would I have gotten even more if they hadn't, right? But at least I had some of it, you know. So what I'm saying is that f all that cooperative. I'm tired of all these bills. Hey, you know, a man ain't there just to pay bills. You got to stop putting a man in that place of a job assignment, because that's why a lot of guys don't want you. Not you, Ashley, but in general. Because when you meet a guy, you're like, yeah, I need somebody to come help me with this. Why would I do that? Because some simp convinced me that I'm supposed to be a real man. Yeah, brother, you get with the sister, you go in there, you supposed to alleviate her burden. She should F all of that. No, nobody told you to put that burden on you. Sometimes it's, bro, it's your poor choices in mating because you were mating because he smelled good or because he had a big schlong or he had a nice car. Now you got children and this and that, and then somebody's supposed to come and clean that up for you. Grow. Not a wise man. A wise man will sidestep you like you do not understand. So there's so much fire just in that needs to be taught that people are not speaking about. Because again, a lot of times there's certain sympathy shown towards certain female raggediness because your mama was female raggediness. So now, everyone, I am pleased with life. I said, where are the men you talking about? I don't know. Well, you typing in all caps, Ashley. So I don't think you're the woman that the men that I'm talking about would want. You got to tone yourself down a little bit, and then maybe we can have a conversation about if we would actually want you. But once women start talking in all caps like that and saying, where are these men? That's usually a sure giveaway that she's not one of the men that, one of of the women that we want. So you can actually learn how to be one of the women. You can learn, or you can keep demanding that you get one of those men, but you're not entitled to them. Yeah, you laughing now, so I already see what you're about. So either you'll say something that makes sense now, or you're gonna throw some emojis up and explain the emoji and say something that makes sense. But if not, then we already see what's going on there. And like Kashia just said, be our new. A lot of sisters are demanding men all the time, but you can get these punk men that you've been with. But if you get with a real man, he's gonna refine, he's gonna reform you, and a lot of you don't want that. So you're stuck, and you don't realize that a lot of men. I had a sister say something to me recently. She was like, Chief, I can be hard-headed. I'm a lot to handle, and I said, not for me, because I have no interest. I'm laughing because you were taking my text very wrong. I ain't taking shit wrong, Ashley. Don't type in all caps to a man. I'm not taking anything wrong. That's part of the problem. You're a woman, I'm a man, I see through you. You can't see through me. So you needed to hear that profanity. Learn something. Those are females who don't grow up with men. When you don't grow up with a man, you always assume that you have an intellect over a man. So when he says something to you, you say, oh, you took that the wrong. Negro, I didn't take nothing the wrong way. I can see through you. I could read you like a book, and if I wanted you, I could have you. Why? Because I'm a real man. You're not used to that. And that's a lot of the problem that a lot of you sisters have. You come in double-minded agenda. You're not coming in ready to submit because you don't see any value in submitting. So a man says something, the first response is, oh, let me explain that. You didn't get that. Negro, there's nothing you can say that I don't get because I'm smarter than you. The Creator made me smarter than you so I could lead you. How could I lead you if I'm not smarter than you? Y'all don't want to hear that. My reminder's clicking off. This is what I'm saying, what you're not ready to hear. And this fake matriarchal conscious community, they're never going to tell you that. They're never, ever going to tell you that. They're going to keep telling the goddess, the goddess, the God. Most of these dudes who tell you that don't even have women themselves, let alone a family. And you still listen to them. I'm telling you how you produce greatness. I'm telling you how you do it. And this assumption that black men, read my book, Noir Mel, if you're confused about it, and listen to the music project. I break it down in the book. There's a stigma that's put on us men all the time. Y'all sit here, this happened recently in our new. A woman coming to me with all this help. Oh, Chief, help me. I'm helping her left and right. But as soon as I say something about her that she doesn't want to change, now all of a sudden I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh, Chief, let me explain. Oh, Chief, you took it the wrong way. Taking things the wrong way is an assumption that I'm listening emotionally. That means now you're insulting me because you're telling me I'm listening like a female. I'm not listening emotionally, so I'm not going to take things a certain way. When you're listening emotionally, then now you're applying feeling and emotion to what's presented. I'm a man, so I don't listen like that. I'm listening logically, and I'm giving logic to you. You see? But you're used to dealing with gaffs. Now spell gaff backward, or sagaff. You're used to dealing with that. You're used to dealing with guys who are hyper emotional because they didn't have a father. See, when you grow up with a strong father, you can't be hyper emotional. And I'm gonna tell you why. Your father would knock your ass out. So you learn to curtail that. I can always tell guys who didn't grow up with a father. I didn't grow up like that. Let me try to get, Mommy, why don't you shut up? I couldn't even think to say anything like that. Yeah, my mom would put them hands on you. That was hands, sticks, all kind of stuff. But Pops was right there. I remember one time I was playing a game with my mother. It was like a family game. And I said, I'm going to beat your behind in this game. Or I'm going to whip your behind. Pops hit me in the back of my head. He was like, don't ever talk to your mother like that. Okay? I remember that like it was yesterday. Okay? Okay. My bad. Talk to your woman like that. And I'm thinking I'm just saying what I was a little boy, you know what I mean. But I'm thinking I'm just saying what people say when you playing games and stuff. But there's a you don't talk to your mother like that. You don't even use words. You don't even say behind to your mother. You know what I mean? So this is what a lot of us are missing, and we grow up without that, and then we have a misconception about females. Some dudes grew up on porno, and that's how they conceive females, or they grew up with simp culture, big mama, and this and all that. Man, we got to learn to treat each other like better people. We got to start there, you know. And then as far as a man, I'm gonna tell you, man, a lot of y'all are single because of stuff like that. As soon as I hear a woman say like, "Oh, let me explain it to you," that you what? Explain what? What? You take your feeble mind somewhere. You can't explain nothing to me. Nothing. The best, most you can do is deeply explore the instructions that I'm giving you. That's the best thing you can do. But if you feel that you're in any position to explain something to me while I'm steadily observing and looking at your life and the mess that it is, you must think I'm an idiot. You must think I'm like retarded. I'm looking at your life and looking at it be a mess, and you're thinking that you have any level of intelligence over me. How do we build an empire like that? How do we build a nation with that kind of thinking? So there's enough fire to go around, man. There's enough fire to go around, whether we're talking about spiritual matters, whether we're talking about gender, whether we're talking about how we relate to each other. You know, we have really been, like El Haj Malik Shabazz said, we have been bamboozled. We have been hoodwinked. And there are some who will stand forward and say, no, this is where we need to be to get to where we need to go. You have architects, just like Cristobal Colon had Moorish navigators when he came to this region. He had somebody say, we've been there, we know how to get there. And then you have a lot of other people who will speculate on belief. I just happen to not be one of them. I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not gonna stay in belief for you. You know, oh, there's a bunch. My dad's blind, but try him and suddenly he sees. You cannot, I don't know what you're talking about. What y'all talk about? I'm listening and not being rude. I'm not saying you being rude, Ashley. I'm not saying you being rude. All right, so to be clear, I don't think you're being rude. I think you don't understand something, and I just gave you some understanding. That's all. It's not. Don't think like. I want you guys to understand something before I go. This has been a long segment. You can't be a nation builder and be easily triggered. So sometimes, like when I talk, people be like, "Oh, Chief is going off," and oh, I'm saying you are. Oh, you saying I'm being rude? I don't care. So sometimes people think that, oh, like you got triggered. You cannot be a nation builder, or you can't get to the point. The things that I'm teaching you, you can't come to the understanding of the things that I know and be that egotistical. I've said it before, I'm saying it again. I'm very understanding. Okay, cool. You can't have both. Okay? So when I speak, sometimes people are like, oh, Chief going up. No, I'm just talking like a man talks. If I was sitting here in all white and I was smiling and saying, oh, sister, I understand, then everything is cool. But when I start talking like a man, because so many of you are not used to that, because we don't see, the only time you really see representations of that is when you watch hockey or you look at police brutalizing somebody. Because you sure as hell don't see it in the conscious community. So it gets confusing. So if I say, hold on, wait a minute, sister, wait a minute. Let me tell you how to, now it's like, uh-oh. No, it's not uh-oh. Just listen. Just like sometimes you might hear your aunties in the kitchen and they be going at each other and like it sounds like arguing, but they really playing with each other. But if you're not used to being around women, you don't know. Or sometimes a woman will offer to do something nice for you and you think she's trying to manipulate you. It's because you never had a woman do something nice for you. You don't understand what femininity is. And so if sometimes it's on the feminine side, sometimes it's on the masculine side. Sometimes you don't understand how a man shows love. If you say something crazy and a man says, wait a minute, and he corrects you, I didn't call you a name. I didn't say you stupid or no. I said, well, no. That's the problem, and I'm correcting you. I come in peace and love. Okay, that's fine. What are you talking about? See, this is. I don't need a man for my business, but as a partner, Ashley, listen for a second. And if you can't listen, then stop talking. Don't tell me you come in peace and love. I don't give a shit about that. Listen. Don't keep pouring words in. You have an opportunity to listen and learn. I don't need a man for my business. I could break you down right now. Everything you just said was off. But this is an opportunity to learn and to grow. Kashia, don't keep giving her information. You gave her a show to go listen to, and right now in the moment she's getting an opportunity. But let's not get distracted by Ashley Williams. We appreciate you, Ashley, and I'm saying I'm sharing what I'm sharing out of love, but I come in peace and love. No, you don't. No, you don't. Now, do we need to do a breakdown of what peace and love is? Or how about a breakdown of respect? But see, the thing is, I respect you enough to know that you're not going to listen to logic. Because I see you. That's respect. So there's no point in me wasting my time doing that. But what I'm saying is that, been deflecting and distracting on the first message. Exactly. This is why we are in a lot of the spots that we are in as a people. Honestly, this is why we're in such bad shape. And we have to be able to take the fire, learn and grow. And I'm sorry, a lot of you don't want to hear it, but I've said it before, the original man is your Messiah. Who do you think is going to pull you out of this mess? And it's not because I can come and pay bills, or I can come and clean the gutters, or I can, kill a roach or a spider that's on your wall, or I could take the children to basketball practice. That's not, I can do more than that. And part of it is that I can give you, like Tahuti gave Haru, I can give you the words of life, the makaru, that restore balance. But you have to accept it. Just like Haru had to accept Tahuti's words, you have to accept it, but in order to accept it, you got to be able to see who's giving it. But a lot of you don't see it. A lot of you matriarchs think you're in control, and you just use the men as they come for little things like, well, Chief, teach me this, teach me that. That's why I don't answer a lot of your questions a lot of time, because they're stupid questions. And I'm just going to give it to you real. They're dumb questions. They're deep to you, but they're stupid. Because they lead nowhere. And I'm trying to lead you somewhere. Well, some of you, people in I knew, they're being led. This is on YouTube, so you do whatever you want to do with it. But that's why you're screwed up, man. You don't respect me, and I don't respect you. Now, I don't mean me personally. I'm saying men don't respect women, and women don't respect men. If we could see what each other is supposed to do, I hate being misunderstood. Ashley, you're not misunderstood. We're seeing right through you, sweetheart. You're not deep. You're not saying anything new, Ashley. Nobody's misunderstanding you. You are misunderstood within yourself. You're saying a certain thing and you're thinking, yes, it's clear as day, exactly. You're thinking you're saying a certain thing because of where your brain is at. That's where your thinking is. And that's a part of your arrogance and your ego, because you assume that when you say something, there could be nothing maligned inside of it. There could be nothing wrong with what's being said. So if somebody points out something wrong inside of what you said, it's because they don't understand. So therefore, you have no room to grow. Your cup is so full, nothing can be poured into it. So at this point, Ashley, I'm not actually even talking to you. I'm talking to all the people on the line who have an Ashley mindset. You ain't got it. Now, Ashley, I know for a fact, if I sat here and started asking you about your life, we'd see all the screwed up positions that you're in. I already know it. I know it from your first comment. We see all the screwed up. The first comment you made showed your level of spiritual development, where you're at right now, and that's not a knock. But where you're at is beneath where I'm at. But the problem is sometimes we're so full of ourselves that we can't imagine that there's more to learn, or that people can actually see us because we spend so much time. We don't fellowship with other people. I spoke about that yesterday when I talked about Euthyphro and Socrates. You know why Euthyphro thought he was so beyond and like he could teach Socrates? You got to understand the history of Athens at that time. It's because Euthyphro, he lived on a farm in the country, and Socrates lived in the inner city. So when Socrates was speaking and giving philosophy and stuff, he had people there to challenge him. So Euthyphro is out there in the country, and he's believing he's a priest. He's believing he has all of this devotion to the gods, and he knows the intentions of the gods and things like that, because there's no one there to challenge his theorem. You see? So it's just like if I never did lives, but I only just did pre-recorded segments, I would think not that I would, but I'm just saying, and I lived in a bubble only of this, I would think that I'm a genius, because there's no one there to challenge my perspective of where I'm coming from. And then once it gets challenged, if I don't have a logical answer, I could just say, well, you don't understand what I said. I can then play victim. Oh, no one understands me. I hate when people don't understand me. I'm playing victim now. Instead of recognizing that maybe my theory is not as tight as I think it is. You see? That was the whole science there with Euthyphro and Socrates. Socrates was challenging Euthyphro, but he was doing it in a way like I do, where he was just asking questions. Well, do you think this? And do you see through me? Okay, cool. So he was challenging, and I know y'all thinking I'm gonna say something in response to that. But like I said, no, it's okay, Talisha. Let her keep going. Because I want y'all to look at that and look and see if you see any of yourself in that. Look and see if you're looking at that like, have I done that? Thank you, Ashley. Thank you. And I mean that from the bottom of my heart, because there's some scenarios that I can't provide, and you are providing the scenario for us right now. Thank you. You know, I don't know you. You're not my friend, so it's not like I'm like, how'd you come on my live? And you're like, yeah, you two person. You know what I mean? But thank you for providing that, because there's a lot of sisters looking at you right now like, oh, that's what it looks like. That's what Chief talks about sometimes. Oh my goodness. So, don't be triggered, Ashley. This is not about somebody being triggered. This is about her not being wise. So, and use that as an opportunity to see times when maybe you haven't been as wise as you should be, or when someone is presenting knowledge in front of you and you're just stuck, you know. So who cares? Don't worry about it. Stop trying to minister to her. Again, that's the problem that we have as a people, wasting our time with deflections. Don't waste your time. Think about everything that I've already said in this segment. Has it not been enough to grow off of? She's purposely not listening. You don't have to give her new words. You don't have to say, think about this, Ashley, and think about that. You don't have to do that. Everything has been here. She's chosen not to take it because she's self-centered. So just look for yourself in that. That's the key. Know somebody help me. Don't help her. Don't leave her be. Leave her right where she's at. The help has been in this whole segment she's chosen not to listen to. So that's one of the reasons why we're in such bad shape, because we can't identify our own. You see, and then we let all kind of disrespect come into the space. But like I said, you can't get to my level and be easily triggered. It's hard to ruffle my feathers, and I'm asking for your help, not your ignorance. So like I said, you're not worthy of it, Ashley. You haven't shown yourself worthy. You've actually been a little disrespectful. So what you can do is you can humble yourself, and then you can go back and listen to what was said already. You know, now my battery's dying. You can go back and listen to what was said, but you're not worth it. The value and the gems that I bring, I do. I see her great pain. Shannon, stop. I ain't even gonna read the rest of that. She's not in pain. She's hard headed. I don't want to call her names. I'm trying to avoid that. That's the problem that we do. You know, we see a sister being disrespectful and being unruly. The first thing we say, oh, that sister's in pain. No. But if I was acting like that on somebody's live, nobody would say that brother's in pain. We'd say, come on, brother, get your stuff together. Brother's ignorant. Y'all be calling me nigga and all kind of things. She's not in pain. She's disruptive. There's a difference. She's not asking for help. She's just being disruptive. Then she's saying slick stuff to try to trigger me. You know what that is? That's devilish behavior. That's what that is. She's not in pain. She's not in pain. Stop. Giant disrespect. Exactly, Gloria. Giant disrespect. But we always, that's the simp mind. Oh, we gotta go to sisters. F that. F that. Listen, don't even pay her any attention. Ashley, you got the gems right there. I'm giving them away for free. And you can humble yourself and you can apologize, or you can stay stuck. But the rest of us are moving forward and having beautiful lives and continuing forward with our day. You could stay stuck where you're at. Who gives a damn? There's enough people out here to care about. You see? So that's what I'm just using that as an example for the rest of you. I'm not even going to acknowledge her at this point, you know, and I know she's still saying disrespectful stuff. Don't worry about it. I'm not even going to block her. Let her, let her go. That's what I'm saying. You got to be able to see what's in front of you, man. And sometimes we get tricked by that. And I'm not one of them. I've been doing this for a long time, and helping people for a long time, since the days of triple fat goose. I've been helping people, and I've seen there are people who will waste your time, and there's people who are really coming who are thirsty, and I know how to spot the difference. Some of you may not know how to spot it because you haven't been doing this as long, but I'm showing you how to move past it. But like I said, you can't be egotistical and you can't be triggered, or you'll never be able to get anything done. You got to have one mind. You can't be double-minded with a human mind and you know, and a divine mind. You got to be clear, and that way you're seeing with this. All right, so I'm gonna get out of here. I told you I got some heavy stuff to do today, and this was a super long live. But we had like 90 people on, you know. But willfully you learned something from everything. I think we went on a journey today, right? And willfully everyone was able to teach each other, you know. And that's what you got to start looking at these divine coincidences as. They're not distractions. They're not detours, because I know how to manage it. Because at any moment I could have just hit the block button. I didn't do it for a reason. Like, that's for you. I let her call me blind and everything and disrespect me for your stinking asses. All right, I'm out. Peace. Enjoy your day.